Welcome back. It is day 1 of spring break. I have secluded myself in the garage and instructed each of the children to not disturb me while I do a voiceover for this video. I say the children because I also babysit, so it's a full house in there, and I'm sure this is just going to be a fantastic week with everybody home. I pray for my sanity. All right, we're going to start out here. I'm going to be showing you guys, walking you through the process of how I did my rainbow scallops. I'm going to be working on a 30-ounce skinny straight. It's going to be a seamless pattern. So, of course, you need a skinny straight cup with no taper. I have already glittered the cup. I have epoxied the cup until it's smooth. I want it smooth because it's going to have a peekaboo look, and so I want the spray paint to go on it with no bumps or anything poking through it. Now I'm applying the scalloped pattern part over the parts of the cup that I don't want spray paint on. Once again, I'm using a cheap, I buy them from Dollar General. It's a big old roll of shelf liner. It's not got a strong adhesive on it, so it comes off really easy. It doesn't leave any residue. When you're doing these, be sure to take the measurements of your cup when you're ready for the seamless part. So once you've taken that measurement and you're starting to create your seamless pattern, don't add any more coats of epoxy to your cup, because that will change the measurements of your cup, the circumference of your cup. And you want your seamless pattern to meet perfectly in the middle. I'm lining it up. I'm making sure everything's good. What I'm covering is the parts that will not be getting paint. So I've got my scallop part on. I know I want paint on the bottom of my cup, so I'm going to leave that open. And this is the color of the paint that I'm using from Rust-Oleum. And then, of course, the stars on top. And here it is with all the pieces in place. It's been spray painted. It's dried. And then I'm going to go ahead and peel off all of this vinyl that I put on it. It just comes off so smooth. I love it. It's a little hack I like to use instead of wasting all of my vinyl that I actually put on cups. So if you don't got you a roll, go get you one. It ain't expensive, and there's a lot of it on a roll. And I got to show you my mess-ups because you all know who I am by this point. They don't go perfectly. And just another fact of that, I had to cut this scallop part twice and reprint everything that would go on the cup, because once I got to the cup, I realized it could use one more coat of epoxy. So I put another coat of epoxy and was like, well, now I gotta start all the way over because it's not gonna fit all the way around. Once I started doing these YouTube videos, I realized, man, these cups do not go as planned. And I don't even realize it until I sit down to do the voiceover, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I don't see anybody watches. You don't know what you're doing. I make it up as I go along. So you're going to sit through and slowly get a good movie, get a good audio book, get some music that you like playing in your ear, and pick off all of the pieces, all of these little pieces of vinyl. Go slow. You cannot hurry this, because if you scratch the paint, trust me, you're going to be able to tell that you scratched the paint. So just go really slow on this and barely pick at it. And I forgot that I did put some stars on the bottom of this one. So once I have picked off everything. I keep saying you, and I hope you all realize I am talking about myself. Once I picked off everything, I did not put another layer of epoxy over the paint, because once again, that would have changed the measurements of my cup. So I made sure that my cup had sat. It sat for 24 hours. I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely dry and that I could touch it and nothing would stick to the paint. The paint is completely dried. So now I'm going to be able to apply my rainbow water slide. Okay, so what I started with with that shelf liner. That pattern that I had put around the cup and created this scallop part is exactly the size of this water slide that you see in this paper. Now, when I first thought of this cup, I thought, well, I'll do each of these lines in actual glitter and get all these glitters out and paint the cup and put it on there. And I was like, no, I want to work smarter, not harder. I still want it to look cute and have the rainbow effect, but I really do not want to do all these different glitters. I just didn't want to do it. So I created this water slide to put right over and to match my shelf liner pattern, my scallop pattern, I guess is what I'm calling it. So you've all heard me say water slide is the bane of my existence. It is. I absolutely hated it, but I hated the idea of using all these different glitters even more. So that's why I went with the water slide. And you just dip your water slide right in the water, leave it in there for a little bit. I keep my water just a little bit warm, not hot, but not freezing cold either. And that helps my water slide come off its backing pretty easily. And then right from the get-go, you're going to want to try to line up the scallops as best you can. So I'm just going through, I'm going to be going slowly through here and sliding off. Like if it was a full wrap and it wrapped around the cup, I would not be taking this long on it. I would just like slide the backing off and put it on the cup, you know, wipe it out. But because I'm matching up my scallops, I'm just going to be going slowly through here. I'm making sure that each of the scallop points matches with my water slide. And it actually, I surprised myself here. And was like, oh yeah, it did work out. Fantastic. And I'm just going to go through and take the time to, I had one of my corners folded up, so I just got some of my tweezers and laid it back flat down. And then I'll go through with the squeegee. I'll squeegee out all of the water from it. I'm just checking the points, seeing if any of it moves. And so the key was to not put another coat of epoxy over the paint so that the circumference of your cup doesn't change and it stays the same. And then to make sure that that paint is completely dry before I put any water on it. So then because it's a water slide, it had to sit for a little bit. I'm pretty sure I did this like at 1 o'clock in the morning. I didn't put epoxy on it until the next afternoon to make sure that it had dried and there was no water on the cup whatsoever. But just taking my time here, squeegeeing out all the water, and then you're just going to let your cup sit and let the water slide dry out. Now once it's sat and it's dried, for however long you let it sit, go ahead and put 1 coat of epoxy over it. Then we're going to move on to our outlines of the stars. And let's talk about how I do my outlines for my peekaboos, okay? I work in silhouette. Let's pop it up here. I'm going to show you what it looks like for me, okay? So you have your offset. You have 1 for offset, 2 for internal, and then the 3 is you can move your distances. We're going to talk about 1, 2, and 3, actually. So for my offsets on any shape that I have, I always go 0.025 offset. And then I also do the same thing for the internal, 0.025 internal. And that'll give you the thickness of your outline. Okay, so you have your shape. Your offset is the black part, and then you have an internal that can go on the inside of your shape. So each of these stars, I took the shape of the star in silhouette. I did an offset of 0.025. I got the shape again of the star, of the actual shape of the star, and I did an internal offset, I guess is what I'm going to call it, and did 0.025. Then I did the offset and I did the internal. Did I confuse anybody? Because I think I talked about it too long. Offset, 0.025, internal offset, 0.025. Now, the reason why I do this, again, and it's the same reason why you don't want to add any more layers of epoxy to a cup once you have measured for your seamless pattern, is because I changed the shape or the circumference, the measurements of the cup with every layer of epoxy. So it's only, you're like, oh, it's only one layer. It doesn't matter. It changed it. So I can't just do an offset of a shape once I've put the layer of epoxy on it, and that is because you'll it won't match up perfectly because I've put a layer of epoxy over it. Doing an offset at 0.025 and an internal at 0.25 means that you'll cover up the outline of that star, and you won't be able to see, like, I don't know if anybody's ever done the outline on these, but if you've done an outline and it doesn't match up perfectly, right? Sometimes you'll be able to see glitter, like on the outside, or you'll be able maybe to see paint on the inside of your outline. So doing internal and then doing your offset at that low measurement, it covers your bases and it makes sure that you won't be able to see glitter or paint, and that outline will just go right over your shape. So if you feel like you're trying to do an outline on your peekaboos and you're like, oh, it's just not, you know, covering what it needs to cover, that's because while it is a peekaboo, you've put a layer of epoxy over the top of it, and now it's just slightly change the measurements of your star, of your shape. Or I've done it over peekaboo, like words, you know, or your quote, or whatever it is. Once that layer of epoxy's on it, the shape, the size of your star or whatever you're doing has changed. So try doing a small offset and an internal offset, and I'm telling you, that'll change it for you, and you'll be much happier with what your outline covers. So I thought I'd also share that little trick with you guys. I'm sorry if I confused you, and if I did, just tell me in the comments, and I'll try to do, like, I'll record something on my computer to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. You know what? I may do that after this anyways. I'm just speaking out loud for you guys here. Actually, see if I can do that. I still have not had luck recording me working on my computer. For some reason, I don't got the right app where it highlights my mouse. And I'm like, well, they don't even know what I'm talking about. You can't even see where my mouse is. I'll have to figure it out. But yes, offset and internal. Just do a small one. And you can do 0.015 if you want. You know, if you want the lines, your outline lines, to be thinner, you can do that. But I've always used 0.025 on both, and it's just worked for me. Now, in my first design of this in my head, because they all happen in my head, I didn't have an outline on my scallop. I thought from the pink paint to the rainbow part, I wouldn't have to use an outline. I'd be like, oh, well, it'll just be fine. But once I'm looking at it, to me, I felt like it looked unfinished. And I think it's because I added the outline to the stars. So I thought, you know what, let's just put a scallop outline on here to see. I just thought it would give it a more finished look. And once I put the outline on it, I was happier with the way it looked. So I didn't use transfer tape on this. The outline was just so thin, I could just move it around with my tweezers, and it worked just fine. I just laid it over it. And then, of course, because I did the top, I also needed to do an outline on the bottom. Once I get to these cups, sometimes I'm like, well, maybe it needs this. Well, maybe it needs this. And I'm looking at the cup right now thinking, do I need to put a line between each color. I'm kind of looking at it thinking if I should try it or not. In the end, I decided not to go with it. I was just like, just let it be. But that was going through my mind right about now as I'm adding this. Does it need something else, or is it cute enough? And in the end, I decided to keep it as is. So once I've laid this down, I put 2 more layers of epoxy over it. And I think she turned out pretty darn cute. All right, now I have some pretty exciting news for you guys. Danielle Spencer Exclusive now has vinyl, 12 by 12 vinyl sheets, vinyl decals, tumbler wraps, glass can wraps. We can even do custom orders for if you're wanting logo stickers or custom 12 by 12 sheets. We offer those now. And those are going to be on DanielleSpencerExclusive.com. I have a Facebook group, Danielle Spencer Exclusive Vinyl. I also have a separate vinyl Instagram, DSC_vinyl. These are all the places you're going to want to look me up at. And I'm prefacing all this to say I have teamed up with a pretty awesome glitter company for a giveaway. Chase Ray Creations and I will be doing a neon bundle. Here is the vinyl that you'll be receiving, 5 12 by 12s, 1 decal, and then I am also doing filler sheets, so you'll be getting a filler sheet. All those go together, and Chase Ray has graciously agreed to go in with me. She's going to be doing seven 2-ounce bags of this glitter, her neon bundle. I own this bundle. It's beautiful. It's perfect. I use it all the time. Look how beautifully these two go together, you guys. They are so beautiful. So what you're going to want to do is go follow both of our Instagram pages. The rules will be posted. So don't sleep on this giveaway, you guys. Go ahead and head on over to Instagram and see if you can win this. All right. Bye, y'all.